Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Aimee here. How's it going? Today is just kind of like a spur of the moment kind of video, and I'm sorry about the lines. I'm trying to move away from them. I think they're gonna move that way, so I'm kind of pushed up in the corner here. But anyway, so I was not planning on doing Summer Ween actually. So Summer Ween will be happening starting Friday, July 5th through I believe next Friday, which is the 11th. So of course my friend Debbie mentioned it to me. I didn't even know it was happening yet. So I went on Gabby's page and I watched the video for the Summer Ween prompts and when it would take place and all that good stuff. So like I said, it starts on Friday. Today is Wednesday, July 3rd. So tomorrow is July 4th. I'm gonna try to get this edited and up tonight because I would like y'all to maybe help me with my picks for the Read-a-Thon, because I have a number of books here that are very good contenders for all the prompts. So I thought not only would this be a good way of figuring out what I want to read, but maybe this will help y'all figure out what maybe y'all want to read if y'all are participating in Summer Ween. Or maybe once you watch this video, you'll participate in it. So like I said, I have a lot of books to go through, so let's get started. So the first prompt is read a book in the dark or at night, which is one of their typical prompts, and you can read whatever you're reading. You can read it in the dark or just read it at night, you know, whatever you prefer. So that's kind of a given for any book. Prompt number 2 is read a thriller or a horror book. I'm pretty sure all the books I have here are possibly thrillers or I don't think I have any horrors. I don't think I have any horrors, but they're thrillers. The third prompt is read a book with a night sky on the cover. I have quite a few that could be contenders. Now these are all just books that I pulled off of my TBR shelf back here, so I definitely wanted to read something that I already have. So this is The Anatomy of Desire. You can see better over here maybe. This is by L.R. Dorn. I've never read anything by this author. I've been having this on my TBR for years, but I think that could be like not necessarily a night sky, but like an evening sky. Or it could be any sky. She does say it could be, any sky, whatever you want it to be. But this sounded really good when I was going through my books to see, what I had on my shelf. So this says, for the fans of true crime docu-series such as Serial and Making a Murderer, The Anatomy of Desire is a modern tale of crime and punishment, exploring unbridled ambition, blinding passion, and the dark side of desire. So it got me when it said fans of Serial, because I loved that podcast. And this actually has an influencer in it, I think. It says Clare Griffiths always knew she was destined for more than the life her conservative parents preached to her. After arriving in Los Angeles flat broke, she has risen to become a popular fitness coach and social media influencer, rebranded as Cleo Ray. One summer day, Cleo and a woman named Beck Alden set off in a canoe on a mountain lake. An hour later, Beck is found dead in the water and Cleo is missing. Was Beck's death an accident or a murder? Told in the form of an immersive investigative docu-series, L.R. Dorn's brilliant reimagining of Theodore Dreiser's classic crime drama and American tragedy captures the poignance of the original and rekindles it as a contemporary and mesmerizing page turner. So it's told in like a docu-series kind of fashion, and I thought that was just very interesting. Why haven't I picked this up before? But anyway, a contender for our dark sky or just a sky in general. Then of course I have a newer release. This is The New Couple in 5B by Lisa Unger. Very much a beautiful night sky is happening on this cover. This one says, a couple inherits an apartment with a spine-tingling past in this haunting and propulsive thriller. Rosie and Chad Lowen are barely making ends meet in New York City when they receive life-changing news. Chad's late uncle has left them his luxury apartment at the historic Windermere in glamorous Murray Hill. With its pre-war elegance, I have my glasses on. With its pre-war elegance and impeccably uniformed doorman, the building is the epitome of old New York charm. One would almost never suspect the dark history lurking behind its perfectly maintained facade. At first, the building and its eclectic tenants couldn't feel more welcoming, but as the Lowens settle into their new home, Rosie starts to suspect that there's more to the Windermere than meets the eye. Why is the doorman ever present? Why are there cameras everywhere? And why have so many gruesome crimes occurred there throughout the years? When one of the neighbors turns up dead, Rosie must get to the truth about the Windermere before she too falls under its dangerous spell. So, a recent read by Lisa Unger I haven't picked up yet. What a Beautiful Night Sky. This one also looks like maybe an evening sky. This is The Blame Game by Sandi Jones. Very short book. This one says, games can be dangerous, but blame can be deadly. As a psychologist specializing in domestic abuse, Naomi has found it hard to not become overly invested in her clients' lives. But after helping Jacob leave his wife, Naomi worries that she's taking things too far. Then Jacob goes missing and her files on him vanish. But as the police start asking questions, Naomi's dark past emerges. And as the truth comes to light, it seems that it's not just Jacob who could be in danger. It goes on to say, a gripping new thriller that has everyone pointing fingers, but only one pointing the gun. Don't know why I've never picked that one up either. Sounds really good. Another one by Sandi Jones with a lovely night or evening into night sky. This is The Guilt Trip, another smaller book. They went away as friends. They came back as suspects. Rachel and Jack, Paige and Noah, and Will. 5 friends who've known one another for years. Then along came Allie, Will's new fiancée. The 3 couples travel to Portugal for Allie and Will's destination wedding. The weekend away at the gorgeous clifftop villa is a chance to relax and get to know Allie a little better. She seems perfectly nice, and Will seems happy after years of bad choices. But when Rachel discovers a shocking secret about Allie, everything changes. As the wedding weekend unfolds, the secrets each of them holds begins to spill, and friendships and marriages threaten to unravel. There we have it. Another book I don't know why I didn't pick up. More evening to night sky. This is The Haunting of Maddie Clare by Simone St. James. I think this one is more of a backlist title for Simone St. James, I think. It says, a woman of limited means and even less experience must confront a vengeful let's start over. A woman of limited means and even less experience must confront a vengeful spirit in this haunting novel from the New York Times bestselling author of The Sundown Motel and the Book of Cold Cases. 1920s England. Sarah Piper's lonely, threadbare existence changes when her temporary agency sends her to assist an obsessed ghost hunter, Alistair Gillis. Rich, handsome, and scarred by World War I, has been summoned to investigate the spirit of the 19-year-old maid, Maddie Clare, who is said to haunt the barn where she committed suicide. Maddie hated men in life, and she will not speak to them in death. But Sarah is unprepared to confront an angry ghost, real or imagined, on her own. She's even less prepared for the arrival of Alistair's associate, rough, unsettling Matthew Ryder, also a veteran of the trenches, whose scars go deeper than Sarah can reach. Soon, Sarah is caught up in a desperate struggle. There goes my list. Soon, Sarah is caught up in a desperate struggle. For Maddie's ghost is no hoax. She's real, she's angry, and she has powers that defy all reasons. Now, Sarah and Matthew must discover who Maddie was, where she came from, and what is driving her desire for vengeance. before she destroys them all. Typical, sort of has a paranormal aspect. This seems more like full-on paranormal here for Simone St. James. I know most of her books, well, everything that I've read so far had a paranormal aspect to it. So there you have it. Two more with some skies on them. This is the Brightlands by John Fram. Now this is the paperback cover. The original cover does not look like this, but this is the one that I have, so I just pulled it off my shelf. Now I have read this already. Well, I listened to the audio, and I did not care for the narrator for this audiobook. So I feel like it made me lose interest in the book. So I bought this one because I fell in love with the cover, and I am preparing to just physically read it one day. It's a pretty large book, but I'd like to physically read it, and I feel like I didn't give it a fair chance because I didn't really like the narration, because I feel like it has promise. So this one says, the town of Bentley holds two things dear: its football and its secrets. When star quarterback Dylan Whitley goes missing, fear grips this remote corner of Texas. Dylan's brother, Joel, a gay man with secrets of his own, is convinced there is more to the disappearance than meets the eye, as does Sheriff's Deputy Starsha Clark. But their search for answers will bring them to the dark truth behind an urban legend whispered about in the locker rooms and bleachers of this all-American town, the Brightlands. So yeah, I don't really, I vaguely remember things happening in this book, but I don't think I was as into it as I feel like I should have been. So one of these days I'd like to give it another chance. I don't know if it will be for this read-a-thon, just because it's a big one and I don't want to listen to the audio. But I just thought I'd throw it in there if you have this book, if you have this cover, or if you want to go out and get it for the cover, you know. And one book that is definitely a night sky. This is The Island by Natasha Preston. This is more of a YA thriller. They said goodbye to their friends and family for the weekend. They weren't counting on forever. Now this the cover actually got me when I first saw this book. I didn't know what it was about, but it looked like an abandoned amusement park on this deserted island kind of thing, and I was all about it. So but it does sound really good. It says, Jagged Island, a private amusement park for the very rich or the very influential. Liam, James, Will, Ava, Harper, and Paisley, social media influencers with millions of followers, have been invited for an exclusive weekend before the park opens. They'll create posts and videos for their channels and report every second of their VIP treatment. When the teens arrive, they're stunned. The resort is even better than they imagine. Their hotel rooms are unreal, the park's themes rides are incredible, and the island is hauntingly beautiful. Their jam-packed schedule seems to cover every moment of their visit, but soon they realize that something's missing, getting off the island alive. So it has all my favorite things: influencers, social media, and a thriller. I don't know why I like them things, and it's a beautiful cover. What a beautiful night sky. That was a lot of books for one prompt. So on to prompt number 4, read a book with 5 or more words in the title. I have a couple of those too, and I'll go through the ones that I've already talked about. Of course, the Haunting of Maddie CLA. Okay, I had to count. Make sure that was right. So The Haunting of Maddie CLA by Simone St. James. Oh. I think you can count this one, The Couple in 5B by Lisa Unger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5B. 5. Moving on to other possibilities, I have The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I've heard many things about this one. It's been on my TBR shelf for forever, and I don't know why I've never read it, and it's a big one. So this one says, The Rules of Blackheath. Evelyn Hardcastle will be murdered at 11 p.m. There are 8 days and 8 witnesses for you to inhibit. We will only let you escape once you tell us the name of the killer. Understood? Let's begin. Evelyn Hardcastle will die every day until Aiden Bishop can identify her killer and break the cycle. But every time the day begins again, Aiden wakes up in the body of a different guest, and some of his hosts are more helpful than others. That's like all you get. So I think it's like basically like a Groundhog's Day kind of effect, where this person will experience the death of Evelyn through their eyes, through a different person's eyes, through 8 people apparently. It just sounds, intriguing, interesting, but it's got 5 or more words on the cover. We have The Woman in the Library by Solari Gentill. This was more of I got this a couple Christmases ago, I believe. I don't know why I haven't picked it up. I have no clue. But anyway, this says, in every person's story, there is something to hide. The ornate reading room at the Boston Public Library is quiet until the tranquility is shattered by a woman's terrified scream. Security guards take charge immediately, instructing everyone inside to stay put until the threat is identified and contained. While they wait for the all clear, 4 strangers who'd happened to sit at the same table pass the time in conversation, and friendships are struck. Each has his or her own reasons for being in the reading room that morning. It just happens that one is a murderer. And that's all we get. It's got 5 words on the cover. Here is another YA thriller. This is by Karen McManus. That was Bright Light. This is You'll Be the Death of Me. Ivy, Mateo, and Cal used to be close. Now all they have in common is Carlton High and the beginning of a very bad day. Type A Ivy lost a student council election to the class clown, and now she has to face the school humiliated. Heartthrob Mateo is burned out. He's been working 2 jobs since his family's business failed, and outsider Cal just got stood up again. So when Cal pulls into campus late for class and runs into Ivy and Mateo, it seems like the perfect opportunity to turn a bad day around. They'll ditch and go into the city, just the 3 of them, like old times. Except they barely left the parking lot before they run out of things to say, until they spot another Carlton High student skipping school and follow him to the scene of his own murder. And one chance move, their day turns from dull to deadly, and it's about to get worse. It turns out Ivy, Mateo, and Cal still have some things in common. They all have a connection to the dead kid, and they're all hiding something. Now they're wondering, could it be that their chance reconnection wasn't by chance after all? So I just pulled this one off my shelf, but this is actually the second book. This is Finley, Donovan Knocks 'Em Dead by El Casimano. The first book is Finley, Donovan is Killing It. It was really cute little, I want to call it like a cozy mystery, but it had a little bit more depth to it than a cozy mystery. So a little step above a cozy mystery, I guess. But anyway, I just pulled it off my shelf. This is the second book, so I don't want to say too much about it, but basically Finley Donovan is a single parent. In the first book, she was meeting her, I think like her manager or something. She was, writing a book and telling her, about the book, which happened to be like a murder mystery type of book, and someone overheard and thought that she was like, this is actually like what she does. Like she actually, like she's a hitman kind of thing. So this woman pulls her aside and offers her money to kill her husband. And it just kind of goes from there. So, this is the second book to that cute little book, so I don't want to read too much into it in case you haven't read the first book, but it's got 5 words on the cover, and so does the other one. Yeah, Finley Donovan is Killing It if you haven't read the first book. This is another one by Karen McManus, another YA mystery thriller, Two Can Keep a Secret. This kind of reminded me of Pretty Little Liars. I think that's why I picked it up. It says Ellery's aunt was the first to go missing. Then it was the homecoming queen. Who will be the third? And that's all it really gives you. Oh no, we have some more on the inside cover. Keep your secrets to yourself. Ellery knows about keeping secrets. Her mother has them, her grandmother does too, and so does Echo Ridge, the picture-perfect town she was just forced to move to, a place where girls go missing and sometimes wind up dead. Malcolm's life hasn't been the same since his brother Declan's girlfriend was murdered 5 years ago. Declan was this close to being named a suspect in her death, and no one lets Malcolm forget it. No one wants to talk about the past, but someone's determined to keep Echo Ridge in the headlines. They've declared open season on Homecoming and promised to make it as dangerous as it was 5 years ago. And Ellery and Malcolm, they're somehow at the center of it all. Then we have For You and Only You. This is by Carolyn Kepnes. This is actually the 4th book in the You series. So we're back with our serial killer, our favorite serial killer, or my favorite serial killer in a book, Joe Goldberg. I just feel like, you know, Joe's just an average guy who just, these bad things just happen to. He just happens to kill these people and get away with it somehow. But like I said, this is the 4th book in the series, so I don't want to read too much into it. But basically, Joe Goldberg, he works in a bookstore in the 1st book, and he becomes obsessed with Beck, who happens to come into the bookstore. And his obsession just, it gets deadly, basically. It's a great book. The 1st book is fantastic. The series is really good too. So yeah, I have not read the 4th book yet, so I thought I'd put it in there because it has 5 words on the cover. We also have The House in the Pines by Anna Reyes. Now, I haven't picked this one up yet because I haven't heard good things about it. This was one of Reese's book club picks. A shocking debut thriller about memory and manipulation in which a young woman must find her way back to a New England cabin armed with only hazy, haunting memories to finally uncover the truth that could save her. Maya was a high school senior when her best friend Aubrey mysteriously dropped dead in front of a man named Frank, whom they'd been spending time with all summer. 7 years later, Maya lives in Boston with a loving boyfriend and is kicking the secret addiction that has allowed her to cope with what happened years ago, the gaps in her memories and the lost time that she can't account for. But her past comes rushing back when she sees a recent YouTube video in which a young woman suddenly keels over and dies in a diner while sitting across from none other than Frank. Plunged into the trauma that has defined her life, Maya heads to her Berkshire's hometown to relive that fateful summer, the influence Frank once had on her, and the obsessive jealousy that nearly destroyed her friendship with Aubrey. It sounds really good, so I don't know. This might be one to pick up for the Read-a-Thon. And then lastly, with having 5 or more words on the cover, we have, this is a new release, Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose. And I mean the cover, come on. A VHS tape, I mean, it can't get better than that. After their mother passes, 3 estranged siblings reunite to sort out her estate. Beth, the oldest, never left home. She stayed with her mom, caring for her until the very end. Nicole, the middle child, has been kept at arm's length due to her ongoing battle with a serious drug addiction. Michael, the youngest, lives out of state and hasn't been back to their small town, Wisconsin, since their father ran out on them 7 years before. While going through their parents' belongings, the siblings stumble upon a collection of home videos and decide to revisit those happier memories. However, the nostalgia is cut short when one of the VHS tapes reveals a night back in 1999 that none of them have any recollection of. On screen, their father appears covered in blood. What follows is a dead body and a pact between their parents to get rid of it, before the video abruptly ends. I mean, I might be reading this for the Read-a-Thon. And the 5th and final prompt is read a book that takes place in the summer. A couple of these could take place in the summer. Of course, we have The Island by Natasha Preston, where we are going to a theme park on a resort island of some sort with influencers to spend time there. This one seems that it could be taking place in the summer. The House in the Pines by Reyes, because we are going back to where it all begins, to a death that took place during the summer. These two by Sandi Jones definitely looks like they could be taking place during the summer. The Guilt Trip and The Blame Game. In The Guilt Trip, we have our couples that are going to this destination wedding, so I think that could take place during the summer. This one doesn't really say whether or not, but the cover just kind of gives me that summer, I think it just gives me a summer vibe for some reason. And then of course The Anatomy of Desire by L.R. Dorn. We have a woman on a beach, I mean, and our characters are going canoeing, so I mean, I know that doesn't have to take place during the summer, but it could. That's it. That's all the books I picked out on my shelf to think about what I want to read for this read-a-thon. So let me know in the comments, what would you like me to read? Give me some suggestions out of what I showed you today. I'll list everything down in the description box below. I'll also list all the prompts if you want to do the read-a-thon yourself. And of course, I will be vlogging the read-a-thon, so stay tuned for that. And as always, thank y'all so much for watching and being here with me. And I will see y'all very soon in my next video. Bye, y'all.